Okay. All right. So welcome to a new way of using your Nuvo Drops. Stickles will work with this technique. Also, basically any kind of paste or anything like that. These are the two examples that I created. So first of all, this one's got a variety of gold, yellow, and yeah, basically just some golds and yellows, different shades, because I have, in case you don't, I have multiple shades of Nuvo Drops, many of them. This one was used, just gives this really awesome texture to it. And this was just used using the jewel drops. So they're kind of see-through. So you just see the flower of my stencil on it there. Okay. So that's what we're going to be doing today. What we're going to start with is, so you want to have something that's going to cover your surface here. You also want to make sure before you start that you have your a pan of paper or something that you can stick your stencils into right away, because you don't want the Nuvo Drops drying on the stencil until you, so that before you can start to clean it off. So you want to have something that you can put your stencil into right away if you're going to do multiples of these. Okay, so you're going to need a variety of Nuvo Drops, or you can just use one as well. You don't have to use a variety, different colors. One will work just fine. Underneath here, I have my, this is my stencil, and then I have my acetate here. So I have a 4.5 by, nope, sorry, a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of acetate, and I'm just placing it underneath my stencil, or put, yeah, just underneath my stencil. And I'm just tacking it down here. And I've got my easy to clean surface underneath my stencil. Now, to squeegee the Nuvo Drops on, you can use a variety of things. The first thing that I used, because I couldn't find proper squeegee, was one of these things from the dollar store. It's like a pastry cutter. That worked great. I also used this little guy here, just put it on the edges here. That worked well. A credit card, like an old credit card or an old gift card, will also work. Basically, you just need anything that's going to be able to lay flat that you can drag it across. Okay, and it's easy here. I'm just going to grab some Nuvo Drops. So I did a pretty heavy coat the other day, and you can see, like, I've still got, I didn't use hardly any of it when I was making the samples, and I did 2 or 3 of this leaf, what do you call it here, leaf stencil. So I used a lot of the greens. I'm just gonna get them ready to go here. And again, so same thing, you can use as many colors as you want. All you're gonna do is squish it out. It looks like you're using a lot. You're not actually using all that much. And you're just gonna put it on the straight edge of whatever it is that you're using. And I'm using a variety here. I've got the crystal drops. I've got some shimmer crystal drops. I've got the glitter crystal Nuvo drop, sorry, the glitter drops here. And I'm just putting in a variety of colors. Then I'm going to take it and I'm going to place it flat-ish, and I'm going to drag it over my stencil. Okay. And I can continue to drag and fill in any spots, because I can see on the leaves here, like there's a couple of spots right here that haven't been filled in yet. And so I just have to push my squeegee here a little more flat, because I still had enough product. I really loaded this up with product. And it worked like a darn. If you need to go back, like if you're finding that it's too hard to pull your product, or it's not distributing well enough, go ahead and add more. Like There's a lot in a Nuvo bottle. Like it looks like you're using a ton. You're not. You're using more than you would on your average card, but you're still going to have an awful lot of product left. Okay, a couple more up there. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is, you can see I've still got a little bit of Nuvo left here on my squeegee. I'm going to wipe off the squeegee. That to the side to dry. Lift my stencil. And I'm going to stick that in my bucket of water. There you go. And oops, let's try lifting from this edge here. There we go. And there we go. So it will have a variety of shades of green in it. It'll have the glitter, and it kind of goes ombre, like based on where you had each of the items. So now we have to put this aside to dry, because obviously it's Nuvo Drops. It's going to take some time to dry. So we're going to put that one aside and let it dry. And I'll give this a quick wipe here. Now, if you find when you're trying to clean up that the Nuvo Drops are not picking up, a little bit of hand sanitizer works like a darn. You want to make sure that you're using it, if you're using it on an item, or even a, sorry, let me just put this here. Alcohol pad, like an alcohol wipe, will also work like a darn. It'll pick it up, but you want to make sure, like if you're using it on here, you can see I started scraping things down, and it was starting to pick up a little bit of the paint. So that's why you want to keep your stencil in the water until you're ready to use it. You might have to use a little bit of alcohol on it in order to get it fully cleaned up and picked up off of your stencil. If you're particular and you want your stencil to still have a nothing sticking in the edges and stuff like that. That's as clean as you really need to get it, is to make sure that nothing. Here's my one that I did that has the puppy prints on it. And you can still see here, I still have a little bit of the bronze. I also have some glitter glaze that was left on it too. The only place that you really have to worry about for sure it coming off is in all of the little areas here, so that it doesn't impact you using it the next time. Okay. Okay, so that's all clean now, and I will put together a sample so that you can see, because of course the challenge is that our acetate is clear. So how are we going to attach that to our card front, you might ask? Okay. So this is one of the examples that I did using some pinks. It was a rose stencil and on the acetate. So you get this beautiful see-through card front to use. So you get this beautiful element. So I use like kind of a hot pink, a really light glistening pink, a purpley color, and then a blush color. And it's so it's now dried, and so you can even see here in some areas. So I still got a little bit of where my stencil moved a little bit while I was doing it, but I don't think that that takes away from the beauty at all. So what I'm going to do here is I've put some soup wang. So I've cut this, I've trimmed my acetate panel down so it'll fit on the front of my card. And I've also left a little bit of area. I trimmed it down a little bit extra so that I can actually put, so I've got some soup wang here, some adhesive, good adhesive down. And I want to be able to put a tab over top of it so that I can hide where I've got the adhesive. So this is similar to having to stick down vellum as well. You want to have to, you have to think a little bit about the putting what your card's going to look like when you put it together, because you're going to have to hide that. You're going to have to hide your adhesive. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself enough space, etc., for being clever or whatever you want to do there to make sure that you are being able to hide and cover up your adhesive. Now I just need to find a pair of scissors. Scissors, scissors, scissors. I'm just trimming off the edges of my card, or the borders that I put here, so that I can hide. Does a nice job of hiding my adhesive. Okay, so that's going to be my card front, and then I have nice little hello that I cut out of the same strips here. So you guys won't be able to finish your I kind of like that high. That's nice. You're not going to be able to finish completely your card today because you'll have to wait for your stickles, or sorry, your Nuvo Drops to dry. So when you're ready to start putting it down, you want to find something that coordinates with your stickles or something like that. You could do just white on white, black, whatever, however you want to design your card. I did another panel that was just straight up and down. I had one here at the top. I did them on the sides here, just depending on what you like your card, your finished card to look like. But you will need to consider, how am I going to be able to hide my how am I going to hide my adhesive? That's the main thing that you need to think about once you're ready to start making your card. How am I going to hide that adhesive? So for me, the easiest way was to cut some coordinating cardstock and just create some strips. Oh gosh. Okay. And that's going to be my example. I'm just going to put this on here to hold that on so that it dries. But that is first card. Anybody have any questions about anything that I showed there? I'll do another walkthrough. We'll walk through this all together here. But based on, I heard a few ding dongs, so I know that a few people have joined us here. If you're going to do this technique, please make sure that you have a pan of water that will cover your stencil standing by. You'll need that right away. So you want to make sure that you have that. Once you're finished with your Nuvo Drops, just go ahead and close them up.
Corinne, the only thing I had is I was doing it while you were doing it. The only thing I noticed is my new drop. Like I used the spatula, Cricut spatula.
Yep.
It didn't seem to be able to get it deep enough, and so it wouldn't cover my open spaces, I found. So is a credit card, like an old card, is that better, or do you find?
Well, it depends on an old credit card just gives you slightly a little bit more maneuverability. When you're using a thicker pad like this one, because this one is quite thick,
Yeah,
right? You have to make sure that you're getting it nice and flat. So you want to, and then kind of, yeah. So you're not just doing it on the edge. You want to have it, put it like this, and then you push it, and then like that, and then you have to pull it along. The other thing is
probably the problem was that I wasn't able to get it like far enough. Yeah, I'll use a different, because I think maybe if I would have just used a spatula, like a one of those, maybe it would have worked better.
Yeah, you can also use like something a palette knife, that would work too. But you want to be able to have so the other thing, Ethel, too, is that you might not have had enough product on too. So sometimes that's what I did too, is I would add a little more product sometimes. So of course, once you've started using it though, you can't put it back in. That is the challenge. So you want to
make sure you have enough at the beginning.
Yeah, make sure that you have enough, or you can always add more, like start with a little bit and then add more if you feel like it's not stretching far enough. You can't make it go further for yourself. And sometimes it will depend on the product too, like I noticed. So for example, the shimmer. So this is the Crystal Drops. This one has a shimmer to it. This one is just the regular Crystal Drop. So it's just a tinted opaque color. This one is much thicker than this one. So it takes me a lot more of this one than it does out of the just the opaque one, because it's not as runny, it's a lot thicker. When I use the Dream Drops one, these are even thicker because these have more iridescence to them. So there's more mica in these ones than there is. So these, the jewel drop, sorry, the Crystal Drops have no mica in them, this one here, and then you get the Crystal Drop with the shimmer. And so it has a little bit of mica in it. Well, the Dream Drops, these ones here, because there's not as many of them, but you can even see through the bottle, you can see how shimmery they are. So they have more mica in them, which means then that they're thicker. So when I was using these ones, I had to squeeze the bottle a lot harder, and it took more product than to spread it out. It was not as flowy, I guess would be the word. It didn't flow as well as the ones without the mica in them, like just the colored ones.
Because these are the Crystal Drops is what I used.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, they all...
So if you are having a challenge with it, a good thing to try is try adding a little bit more product, and or seeing if you can scrape it and then try and fold it over, like really push it in and drag it across. That's yeah, to get as thin of a layer as possible.
Sounds good.
Awesome,
okay,
awesome.
Guys, I'm gonna run to work. So
have a good day, Ethel.
Catch you guys after work. Have a good day, guys.
Have a good day, Ethel.
Yeah, Ethel.
So now we're gonna do another one together. So if you want to do this at the same time as myself, I'm going to start with, so you can't see it, but what we're going to start with is our piece of acetate here. Okay, well, you can sort of see it. And for those of you who don't have magnet mats or something like that, you might want to put a little bit of tape, masking tape, or washi tape, whatever you've got, like just on the sides, to hold your stencil in place to your acetate from the back. Okay, so you want to have that on the back. I don't need to do that because I have these cool magnets on my little make art station here. So I'm just gonna stick it like so. And I'm going to use a variety of browns for this paw print one. So I'm going to get my product ready here. So, and you can use, again, you can use just one color, you can use multiple colors, 2 colors, whatever you feel like will make a nice finished product. What do you want to see on the end there? Okay. All right. Now, all I'm going to start doing is loading up my spatula or my squeegee, whatever you've got. Okay. Oops. So even as I'm loading this up, you can see the difference between, so this is just the regular cream Crystal Drop. These are the ones with the glisten that have the shimmer to them. So they've got more mica in them. You can just see the difference in how well they pour compared to the other ones. Let's do a glitter again.
Corinne, you said you could use stickles as well?
You can use stickles. Yeah, it's going to be probably pretty tough to push them out, but stickles will work. Exact same thing. They're you just have to, because sometimes they don't flow quite as well as Nuvo Drops. Okay, that one I'm going to unjam. Another one. So I'm not using any of the glitter on this one. There we go. So the same sort of thing. You can also use, I mean, this is essentially, there's nothing new about this particular technique. It's just using the Nuvo Drops in a different way rather than just straight out of the bottle. Which if you've already got the supply, you don't want to have to go out and buy a whole new thing. So maybe you have a couple of stencils and you're investing in some stencils, but you don't necessarily want to have to go out and get some glaze or something like that, or some mousses to put through your stencil. Well, if you've already got a bunch of Nuvo Drops, let's use them then. So this is another one where turns out I put a more than enough product on to start with. Okay, and I'm just going through. And I'm going to have a look and make sure that all my little paw prints, before I go and lift it, everything looks like. So see, there's one right there that's missing some. One right there. The nice thing about being able to put the washi tape or the tape on the side of yours is at least you know where the sides are of your acetate. Because right now I've done my whole stencil and I know that my stencil or my acetate is not that big. So I have quite a bit left on here, but my stencil is full. So I'm going to wipe it off. It's kind of funny because it kind of, you know, this is, it's not necessarily video worthy, but it feels a wee bit like you're changing a diaper once you've got it on here. If you put too much product on. So I'm impatient and I have tons of this stuff. So I tend to use more product than I need to start with. You can always start with a little bit and add more product on. You don't have to add on as much as I do. And I'm going to peel my stencil up and put it in the water right away. Now I can peel up my acetate, which is right. What is my acetate? Right there. Ooh, okay. And there we go. Another one ready to go. Well, not ready to go. I'll have to leave it to dry, but that's going to be a cute puppy card. So now I'm going to move that off to the side here and find a convenient place for that to dry, because it'll need, before you can use it, it'll need a couple of hours to be really, really dry. It'll be dry to the touch within probably 20 minutes, half an hour or so. But so you could start using it at that point. You just want to be careful that you're not squishing it, because it could still be a little wet underneath. And I'll do one more card. I'll put together one more card because you guys will have to do that on your own. So I want to show you what I've done here to kind of complete them. And then I'll clean one of my stencils so you can see how that goes as well. But I'm going to do up my product. So these two I have to put glitter gems in these ones here. Alrighty. So here's what my Nuvo Drops. So you saw me, I just did this. This is what it looks like once it's dry. Okay. So it's got lots of shine. There's multiple different colors in it. Let's see if I can get it close enough there that you guys can see it. And so it kind of gets this really cool ombre look to it. Okay. So on this one, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the sides. So it's going to be a little bit more vertical. So now I need some blend.
What size tape are you using, Corinne?
This is, let me double check here for you, Eileen. Good question. I think, I want to say it's 1/2 inch.
It's too big.
Well, it's the one that's just under 1/2 inch.
Okay.
So I think Sequin goes by millimeters. So let's see here. This is 10 millimeters, maybe 9 millimeters.
Okay. Thank you.
And then what I did is I cut my strips to, oh, I should do that too. So you can do thicker strips too if you want. I just didn't want to have I didn't want to end up losing all of the glitter and whatnot. So
Right,
4
right.
inches. Yeah, I did a 1/2 inch strip. So
Okay.
when I cut my panel down, what I wanted was to make sure that I had, so I'll leave the sukwang, the topper on there, the release paper, I'll leave it on there. So I want to make sure that I've got enough so that my panel is going to stick to it, and then have enough that when I've got enough of a hangover so that I can add my paper strip on there as well. So it covers up my adhesive area. Okay. Did a manicure, so now I can't peel up much with my nails now. There we go. Okay, and I'm just gonna go through and I'm just gonna, thing was not totally even there. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my panel and I'm gonna go right to the edge here. Okay, a little high, but that's okay. Now I can take my little cardstock strips here of whatever I decided, whatever colors you want to choose or whatever you want to coordinate in on your card with. Right. And I'm going to trim those. Okay. So that's my card front so far. Okay. And it's going to have a little bit of depth to it. It's not bad. I mean, basically you've got your card front and then you've got a little bit of a lip here where you've got your cardstock strips. Okay. And then I created 2 sentiments. See which one I liked better on here. And I think I think I'm going to go with that one. So, and if you're like me and you've already, you pre-print or pre-cut out sentiments and things like that, get them ready to go, it does make this so much easier when you're ready to start making your card. So that's something, while you're waiting for your Nuvo Drops to dry, you can be considering and thinking about, okay, so how am I going to hide this? Let me find some cardstock or something, or ribbon. Ribbon would work just as well, to stick down the sides or something like that. You could do just a single thing of ribbon around and have, like, it would flip open a little bit, but that's what happened on this one. I just have the single strip of cardstock at the top, and this just sits open, and my card just sits like that. Oh, you can't see that, just a minute. My card just sits like that. So it's like it doesn't have to be super well tacked. People aren't going to be going, like having it flapping out a window or something like that. You just need to make sure that it's going to make it to your recipient in a decent order, kind of thing. Okay, so I'm going to stick my block on there to let that dry. This one's dry already, and we're good to go. Now, if you wanted to finish that, like, to me, this actually has enough. So it's got enough shine on it. I could do a couple of little jewels on here, or because you already have the Nuvo Drops that match, I could go in on this green panel, for example, and do a couple of drops around here, because it's the same product, so it's already color coordinated. You don't have to go and find another product that matches. I don't have my pink ones out, otherwise I would do that, but I could do on here because I have some green ones. Let's do, it should be, I want to do a darker one. Use that green in there. And say fini. There we go. So you can see. So those colors are the ones that I already used in the background when I was using my squeegee and whatnot. So now they color coordinate perfectly. I don't have to find anything else. And I already have them on hand. So use your product that you've already got on hand anyways. Okay. So that card is finished. Now I'll pull out one of my stencils and kind of just show you how I've been having to clean them here. So, over my bucket. Ooh. Maybe I'll move these paper products out of the way before I. Okay, so I'm just gonna get my fingers in there. Give it a good wipe down while it's in the water. So my water has a little bit of soap in it as well. It's not a necessity, but it does help out a little bit. Yeah, put that back there. All right, so you can still see that there's quite a bit of brown on there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take a little bit of my alcohol-based hand sanitizer, and I've got a squeegee. So you can use the squeegee that you used earlier, like this. Your credit card that you had will work just fine. I have umpteen of these little scrapers that are like the cricket scrapers. I got mine from Dollar Tree. So, and I'm just gonna go in there and move the alcohol around a little bit. You can see here where it's starting to pick up some of the old glitter paste that I had on there as well. Just giving it a little bit of a light scraping. And some of these, if I was using the same print, I would use it right away, right? So if I was the first day that I did this, I wanted to have 2 of the paw prints. So I did one, lifted it, put it right down again to do the next one so that I wasn't having it dry in between. And then I worked as quickly as I could. So you can see some of the color that's lifting. You can see a little bit that's left on my scraper there. Give it a wipe down. Missed an area over here. Now you can do this with soap and water, that kind of thing. I'm just someone who's impatient. You don't have to use alcohol because, of course, the more that you use alcohol, it can start to eventually, it will start to break things down, right? Because it is a solvent. It will be a little bit more harsher on your stencils, for example. So if you don't want to be ruining your stencils or something like that, if you're concerned about that, you can do this with soap and water. You just have to do a lot more elbow grease, which I'm not particularly interested in. So I'll just reinvest. If something ends up happening to my stencil some point down the line, I'll just end up probably reinvesting at some point. This is about as much elbow grease as I'm currently willing to invest in. So you can see on the back, like it's not like there's a ton that has come through. Okay, front side, pretty darn clean. And, you know, I don't have some of these I can still continue to pick at if I want to, but it's not super bad. And, but all of the relevant areas that I need for using it the next time are open and clear. And that's my main concern, is I want to make sure that I don't have any product that's stuck inside any of this stuff. Okay. Any questions? Okay, well, I'm going to end the recording now, and then we can do a what do you call it? A show and tell for anybody who wants to show their panels that they managed to do.